Hello and welcome to a special, exciting Sunday night live stream edition. I am Adam Levitan here at Established Run, joined by Mike Leone, also of Established Run, and we are here because the NFL draft is over, which means it is best ball season. Not only is it best ball season, but we have a big prize to play for this year. Underdog just announced $25 buy-in, $1 million to first place. Massive best ball tournament. Justin Herzig, who works with us on all the best ball stuff, is in Miami right now, but he'll be joining us in the future for a lot of this stuff. He won last year. It was only $200K. He must feel like he missed out on $800K after they announced the 1 million to first this year. But anyways, Leone, draft is over. Best ball season is upon us. How's it going?
It's going well. I'm pretty pumped. We got all our rankings updated. I'm actually going to share my screen right now. We have the Underdog Top 300. If you're an ETR subscriber, make sure you check that out. Subscribe to our draft kit. What's really cool is it's exceedingly easy to put these rankings as your default rankings on Underdog. You just hit download CSV here, go to your Underdog ranks, click CSV, upload, download, drag the file in, hit save, and that's it.
Boom.
That's it. So now those will be your default rankings within Underdog. So that's really cool. So I'm pumped about that. And yeah, I think Justin's probably going to put all $200K that he won last year into drafts. He's going to be drafting every second of every day until the season starts.
Yeah. Keep in mind that those rankings that Leone just showed, our top 300, they will update continuously with news and different takes. So be sure you're uploading and re-uploading. You can obviously move them around for how you feel. By the way, if you want a free $25, look in the show notes below. There is a link. If you use that link and use promo code ETR after your deposit, they're going to give you $25 for free. Yes, a free entry essentially to this $1 million contest if you make a deposit with the link below. Check that out. Okay. We're getting in a draft here. I think, Leone, in best ball, there's a lot more to talk about than micro player takes. We're going to talk a lot about roster construction tonight. We're going to talk a lot about strategy. Micro player takes are important, I think, but especially at the beginning of draft season, I think micro player takes are important because ADP isn't flattened out yet. As we get closer to August and September, roster construction is going to mean more because the ADPs and most people will be in there firing very close to the ADP amounts, the ADP results. So anyways, yeah. Leone, what do you think about general strat for when you're drafting this early in a really top heavy $1 million first type of tournament like this?
Well, one thing, I did one of these drafts before we went live, and Najee Harris went 3-7. You know, that you're not going to get him that late that often in draft season. Silva said he's not going to leave the field when we did our round one recap show. Jamar Chase went kind of late. Kyle Pitts went T5, but he went like early 6. So I think some of these rookies you can get because right now there's no ADP. The ADP in here is just the Underdog default. So like Trey Sermon, I almost got super late as kind of like a zero running back candidate. So there's an opportunity to get the rookies early. You know, it's going to be higher risk, higher reward when you're drafting early, but some of these rookies seem nice. We're at the back end of the first round, which I kind of hate. Like the beginning of the first round is such an edge because you get elite running back and you get a really good shot at getting elite tight end. And I like those builds. This is where ETR subscriber Casey, who's probably watching us on the stream, is picking before us, where you have to decide, do you want to try a zero RB build or do you want to chase the running backs with worse running backs than the start of the draft? I know last year I was really into the heavy running back early. I still like that. That was really successful. But if you looked at optimal running back construction, there weren't a ton of zero RB teams, but the people who did it, and I always think it's sharper drafters, so it's a little biased, but you can see in my article, they did really well. The zero RB teams that really committed to it.
Yeah. How are you, for people who are watching, how are you defining early in that article there?
That's first 5 rounds.
Yep. Okay. Let's see who went so far. Yeah, so
So,
that's our top four, but we do have Dalvin ahead of the big dog.
and then, it's unlikely Kelsey drops. I think starting with him is always fun just because it's a structural thing. And you definitely, when you're using our rankings, have to keep the structure you want in mind. You might move guys here and there, but the decision we're going to have to make, Adam, is like Zeke Elliott versus Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. Like,
Buddy. We are not taking Ezekiel
I
Elliott.
knew it. I knew that
Okay,
was
come on. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous.
I can't force Adam to take an old in his
Oh,
first draft of the season.
his backup is better. I mean, I will say Dallas's offensive line, I think, has a chance to really rebound. And same with the Eagles. Like both of them have a chance to rebound, have really good offensive lines. But yeah, no, we're not taking Ezekiel Elliott.
Zeke could score 20 touchdowns, so no one
Yeah.
would bat an
Oh,
eye.
who are you to bet on touchdowns with your first overall pick? All right, there
Okay,
goes
so
Kelsey.
yeah, this is where the two receivers went. So I actually think like Aaron Jones is pretty good
Mhm.
here.
I love Aaron Jones. Yeah.
Okay, let's queue up Aaron Jones. He's down a little bit in our ranks because we baked in like just a touch of risk with the Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
situation.
One thing I'll say about Aaron Jones with AJ Dillon now as a primary backup instead of Jamal Williams, there's gonna be more pass catching opportunity, I think, for Aaron Jones. And like, I don't think the usage for Aaron Jones is that much different than the usage for Alvin Kamara. So yeah, I like starting with Aaron Jones.
And then I think, even though we're chasing running back a little bit, we're getting a high upside guy there. I imagine one of Diggs or AJ Brown goes. There's a back that I would love to take. Yeah, there goes Diggs. And I think, like, as much as I know it's like wheels up for AJ Brown, I am a little bit concerned. I shouldn't say concerned. It's just, I mean, wide receiver 4, like you're buying him at the ceiling.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I actually think that Mixon and Cam Akers are perfectly fine at this spot too. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, AJ Brown averaged like 7.6 targets per game last year and was still fantasy's wide receiver 5. We only have him around 8 targets per game, I believe, this year, even though they've lost a lot of guys. It's just hard to see him getting up towards that 9-10 range, which really you need. But AJ Brown has been so insanely efficient and Tannehill has been so insanely efficient. I don't hate that either.
So I do like, I think there's a chance Mixon's a top 5 back this year.
Yeah.
I know you're in on
It,
Mixon.
yeah. I mean, without Gio there, I mean, the thing is, in these builds that start running back, we know we can take running backs early. We know that we can take running backs, a lot of running backs. We can't take them both. So yeah, that's fine.
And I mean, that offense, people are talking about how Mixon's let them down in the past. It's never been an offense like this. It's Cowboys North. If we're betting on Zeke touchdowns, we could bet on Mixon touchdowns for a little bit lower price and less competition. He doesn't have Tony Pollard behind him.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that even though Gio wasn't getting a lot of touches, he was playing on a vast majority of pass down snaps, and like it was just capping upside on Mixon for sure.
So I want to ask, does Chuba Hubbard become a great late round target being CMC's backup? I have a tough time with the guys that are like pure handcuffs, which he would be. And I was asking Crane about this. He's going to have the Dynasty rookie update this week, early this week sometime. And it doesn't sound like Hubbard would come in and see the pass catching role that CMC would. So it's not 90% CMC. I
mean, that's the thing about Mike Davis. He's such a good pass catcher. I mean, it was great. There goes AJ Brown. Oh my God. Like J.K. Dobbins at 2.6. I mean, I couldn't hate that more. I really couldn't.
We're in alignment on that one. I just show me the difference between J.K. Dobbins and Trey Sermon. I said it.
Whoa. Well,
okay, maybe not quite that much, but for a 7-round gap in ADP.
I mean, Gus is going to play a ton. Mixon's not going to catch. I mean, J.K. Dobbins is not going to catch passes. I just don't see how he goes at 2.6. But that's good. I mean, that'll keep the ADP up, and then like a lot of people are going to respond to the ADP once it gets in here on the underdog.
Dustin Norton's asking about late flyers. I try to, it kind of depends on how my team's structured. I just did a draft where I was saying to add him ahead of time. I took Salvin Ahmed with my last pick. You know, Miami didn't add much at running back. I know they have Malcolm Brown there now, but I think he's the clear backup and guy would benefit if anything happened to Gaskin. Ramondre Stevenson's rookie for New England. That's kind of a flyer. And then at receiver, there's a couple receivers that step into playing time. There's Eskridge for Seattle, who should be wide receiver 3. St. Brown for Detroit. There's just not much there. And then Des Fitzpatrick. I honestly don't know much about him, but we were waiting for Tennessee to take a wide receiver all draft, and that's all that that's the guy they took.
Yeah. I think ideally my last pick is typically wide receiver instead of running back. I think hit rates are going to be better at wide receiver with those really late round flyers, but yeah.
And you can get to if I do, like, we're building more probably like a hyper fragile build, which means we're going to take running backs early and then make up for wide receiver quality with quantity.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when that happens, like, I'm okay taking the boring guys late, Russell Gage, those guys, like, they're going to just give you usable points.
Yeah, for sure. It's like head choppers in this draft. Dr. Evil, Casey's in the draft.
Ooh, head choppers in the draft?
I believe so.
Oh, yeah. Buying the dip on Michael Thomas. I've seen Michael Thomas go pretty late in some of these. So coming up, we're probably looking at our first receiver. The only running back I would consider is Miles Sanders. But I think we're probably looking at receiver.
I mean, by the way, they took Kenneth Gainwell, which is not great for Miles Sanders. But yeah.
And Miles goes. So who's your favorite receiver here? I'm kind of... All these guys are stackable. Allen Robinson's pretty stackable now with the Fields price tag.
Yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, I think I would like Mike Evans best out of those guys, but I think Keenan and A-Rob are both fine as well. I'm a little bit hesitant on A-Rob with the quarterback situation, but yeah, I mean, the field stacks sound nice. Oh, we just got timed out.
We'll go Keenan. I threw Keenan on the queue there. We went Keenan. Sometimes when I'm unsure, I'll just take the ADP guy. So we won't. He was our top ranked guy, ADP guy.
But that's not ADP. That's not ADP. That's our rankings, right?
Well, this number here that says ADP is like the underdog.
Oh, got it.
That's like the underdog default right now. I think once they generate an actual ADP, but
right. But our rankings had Keenan on top.
Yeah, this is ordered by. It doesn't tell you your rank number, but it's ordered by it. Right. I wish it told you your actual rank number. So we're probably going right back to receiver.
Did Waller go?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Waller went. He would be. Yeah, I think it's a little too early for Andrews or Pitts.
Yeah.
And I don't like going QB here. These running backs are pretty gross. I mean, I don't know. I guess Carson's okay, but
nah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Carson goes anyway. I like CD. I think CD's gonna have a huge year. But really, I'm fine with any of these top 3 guys.
Yeah, it'd be DJ or CD for me.
Okay, let's go CD. And what's fun in this wide receiver range too is, just one of Dak or Herbert falls at the 5-6 turn, and you can get a pretty premium stack.
God, Herbert's just gonna go nuclear.
And yeah, right around round 6 is when we start targeting the quarterbacks. The struggle for me now is I love building those premium stacks, but there's probably a limited window where we're getting good price tags on Trey Lance and Justin Fields before the field sharpens up. So you kind of got to toggle the opportunity cost there.
Yeah, for sure. And all of the data that our optimal roster construction for those that haven't read the articles, typically we want to take between two quarterbacks between round 6 and 10. Ideally, I think is best. And then if you're going to take 3, maybe it's like round 10, 12, 13 or something like that. And I don't think that's terrible either, especially with what you could probably get in rounds 12 and 13 now. But yeah, is that what you would say about quarterback roster construction?
And if you miss the rushing high upside quarterbacks early, there's Fields and Lance late, but I mean, Burrow stacks, Ryan stacks are pretty affordable, and you have a lot of options with both those guys. I think that the price tag on Chase is great right now. I still love Brady. First draft I did, Adam, was a Brady triple. I just had to get it out of my system. But you can, like, I don't love the pocket quarterbacks. They don't have this huge ceiling. But when you start taking 3 guys and you take them around round 10, to have like 3 different stacks is nice. And like the stacking research I looked at too, if you do take 3 quarterbacks, if you can stack them all, at least like 1 or 2 receivers, the distributions end up working out nice just based on randomness. Like there's a good chance one of those stacks does pretty well on a given week, even if the individual quarterback ceiling isn't super high.
If we take Herbert, it allows us to take 2 of my favorite late round picks, Josh Palmer, who I think can win the number 3 job, and of course Donald Big Dick Parham popping in both the XFL model and the PSM.
Yeah, Palmer's a guy that, you're talking about last round to fill your stack. No one's on him.
Yeah.
Dak goes, so that stacks out.
How far off ADP are we on Herbert?
I think like Herbert's in range. I think there's a teardrop personally after Herbert.
Yeah. I can't believe Lamar hasn't gone yet.
Yeah, but we still got 8 or 9 picks.
Yeah, I know. It's just, people were falling all over themselves last year to take Lamar in like the 2nd round. Now, Lamar's certainly gotten an upgrade. Sammy Watkins.
But this too is,
Bateman.
There's like if you can double tap Chase and Higgins and set up a Burrow double, like we have options.
No. We don't have to force Herbert.
I just love getting a high-end tight end and only taking 2.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of options. It's actually a pretty strong area of the draft, this 5-6 turn. Oh, yeah, Adam. This was the saddest part of the draft, huh?
I'm moving to Denver. They pass on Justin Fields. And my kid's asking me the other night, we were talking about moving to Denver, and my kid's like getting excited about the Broncos, and he's like, do they have a good quarterback? And I was like, not really. And then he was like watching the draft. He's like, did they draft one? I was like, no. And he was like, why? And I was like, good question.
Good question. Yeah.
Good question. And then they trade up for running back when they have Mike Boone and Melvin Gordon already. Not the best run out for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The Javonte Williams stuff. That'll be interesting. I don't know what's your take on Javonte versus Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, no, I think Javonte will play a ton. I think he'll play a lot. Javonte, I think, will push Melvin Gordon. I don't want to say for the starting job, but for one of those like 40-60 roles for sure.
So yeah, we can go in a lot of directions. There's still some pretty good receivers here. I would like to get one of the tight ends.
Who are the tight ends?
We've got, Andrews just went. So it's like, do you want to, where are you on Pitts? Like, this is obviously pretty early. Lamar's still here.
Yeah.
And then what are you thinking? We got to make a decision here.
Yeah. I hate to take quarterback this early. I don't love Pitts this early either.
You want to take Herbert and just get this stack? Oh,
well, we have 3 seconds. Take something. Take him.
Okay. We're gonna
reach
on Herbert a little, get the stack. I would have taken Lamar, I think, if Andrews was still on the board, to see if we could get Andrews coming back.
Yeah, I think a lot of people run into this where they're like, how far outside of ADP do you want to go to build your stack? You know what I mean? And so are we forcing it too much by going outside? Like, I would never take Justin Herbert over Lamar in a vacuum, but is it okay to do Justin Herbert a round or 2 earlier than we think he's worth it because we have Keenan?
Yeah, that might have been a little bit of a panic pick. I don't know. That was I would over Russ. Yeah, that's easy. Over Lamar, we probably should have gone another position and seen what will come back to us, really. Because if Lamar comes back, then at that point you just take it. Or if Lamar's gone, you can take the Herbert stack. I think now that this is tough because if we want to be done with running back early, I think Gaskin's a pretty good value.
Mm-hmm.
But then Pitts gives us, we get our tight end and get out of there. I think we can wait on receiver. We're going to build. We got 2 good ones, and we're going to build. So Gaskin goes. I think it's too early for Edmonds. So I'm kind of on the Pitts train here, but maybe I'm just
Yeah.
riding the hype. Okay, Pitts goes right before us. The live drafts are full of snipes because people are watching us, Levitan. So I think we just got to go receiver again, right? I mean, you don't want to take Edmonds this early, right? Edmonds or Javante? That's a little early. Or
It
who
would be
would you?
Edmonds over Javante for me. I wouldn't love it, but I'm okay with it.
All right, we could do Edmonds. Just go with the build we want structurally.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna end up with only 4 running backs in this build, right?
Yeah, probably only 4 running backs.
My God, Dr. Evil's in the chat also. Hey, people are just watching this and they're in the draft.
So KZ gets the Lamar Andrews stack at 5'6". I think that's an awesome buy low
Oh yeah.
this year. It's you cover, and now he only goes 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. So that's very nice.
Yeah, we could have taken Lamar there, but we would have had to come back with Hollywood, right? At some point.
And like 2 quarterbacks at 5'6" is rough. We talked about taking that first quarterback in round 6. We basically just switched the order, took Edmonds in 6 and Herbert in 5. But to take 2 quarterbacks, there's just so much opportunity cost there.
Yeah.
It's basically like you take the one, you're riding the really high upside, and you still want a second one with decent upside, but you don't need one that early.
Yeah.
Yeah, Casey's got Rashad Bateman lined up at the end. That was, I don't know, an interesting landing spot. It was great to see Bateman get that draft capital. I know Crane was pumped about that, and he's like holding steadfast in his Dino rankings on Bateman. I guess it comes down to if you think, how good you think Hollywood is, because there's a chance Bateman overtakes him if Bateman's really that good. And then at that point, but if he doesn't, there's just not that many pass attempts to go around.
Yeah. No, I think it's been proven that Hollywood is not like I mean, you could have never expected him to play like an actual alpha wide receiver role at 165 pounds. Like it was just never going to happen.
Some people bet on it. Speaking of which, top of the board, we have been all offseason a little bit higher than the market on Will Fuller. Do you have any Fuller takes?
Yeah, I mean, obviously getting Jalen Waddle is not great for the target share, I don't think at all, but that's obviously baked into our projections. I mean, I just think Will Fuller is really good. I think Tua last year's performance was scary, but not worth writing off of. I mean, dude barely had any time to practice with his new team, but
yeah. I just think the big playability, I think Miami could be pretty pass heavy this year, or at least above average in pass rate over expectation, I would expect. And yeah, I think there's reasons to be optimistic on Tua rebounding. And Fuller's just such a big play guy.
Yeah. Fuller, note, is suspended for week 1. Obviously that's baked into our projection also, but he's suspended for week 1. Because he got caught,
right?
Just week 1. Yeah, he got caught. He got caught somehow using PEDs. It's so sick. I really don't know how you get caught. Everybody in the NFL is on PEDs.
Adam's very embarrassed for Will Fuller.
Curtis Samuel's down there. I think Jerry Judy's pretty nice. Yeah, I would take.
Nice
I actually would take Samuel and Judy over Visca and Antonio Brown, I think, for sure.
Yeah, the Visca might be high. I'm hoping the pace on Jacksonville really picks up, and there's a chance that the efficiency at the quarterback position could immediately be vastly improved. And sometimes it's hard for people to fully bake that in, but the Visca hype is pretty real, though. That might be a little hot for him. So Mostert goes. Where do you have Mostert versus Sermon?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mostert appears to me like he's starting to wear down. And note that the 49ers didn't just take Trey Sermon. They traded up to get Trey Sermon. And so those would be pretty big red flags for me on Mostert. I wouldn't take him at 7.8.
Yeah, I actually kind of like Sermon as our last running back, but what do you think? Will Fuller here?
Oh, we're on the clock again. Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's go Fuller. We'll stay on brand. I feel like you can get Fuller Sermon way later than
it's possible. We don't need to press it, but I like him a decent bit. But there are like Michael Carter later. There's some other running backs too. There's really, I don't think anyone worth taking at tight end this early. I'm kind of like rather wait and take Higbee than take Goddard or Fant here. I don't know your take on that
Yeah.
one.
Well, we could build a reverse stack. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick must go extremely late. We could build a reverse stack with Curtis Samuel and Logan Thomas, with Ryan Fitz. But we're likely to take our second quarterback way before that Ryan Fitz tier, right?
Probably if we just want to.
Yeah.
We'll see though.
These
So
are
Jarvis, Juju, Sam. You have Samuel ahead of Juju.
I would have Samuel ahead of Antonio Brown and Brandon Cooks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like Juju here, or what do you think, Juju or Sermon?
I think Juju.
We can also there's also a chance for a Tua kind of. Oh, Drew snipes us. I swear Drew's on the broadcast. All right, so Juju's gone. So Jarvis Landry, Sermon, or I guess Curtis Samuel.
Let's go Sermon and just be done with the godforsaken running back position.
Okay. Crossing it off the running back position. But yeah, I mean, we'll see where Waddle goes. But if he makes it back, you can set up a Tua stack. We don't have a tight end. Jasicki's there.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about the strategy behind only taking 4 running backs in this kind of format?
Yeah, so if you take running backs early, you're really banking on them not busting and staying healthy. If they go down and get hurt, your win rates are going to suffer so much, regardless of if you really try to be safe and take a bunch of backup running backs to cover that. It's just tough to survive. So you basically want to construct your roster around assuming those guys are going to survive the season, be pretty healthy, that have return value on their ADP more or less. And then that lets you make up for the lack of quality at receiver with just quantity. You can get up to 10 wide receivers. It also, we didn't get the premium tight end, but if you're taking running backs early, and you're not taking receivers early, super early, or at least not a lot of them early, you can usually find room for an elite quarterback, an elite tight end. We got Herbert stack, so we got an elite stack in there. So that's basically the idea.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is that people build in downside scenarios way too much when they're doing drafts like this. Note that not only is this best ball, but also that so top heavy. You have to win your league to advance, and you have to win that league to advance. You have to win that league to advance. These downside scenarios where like you're scraping together some third string running back who you took because you're afraid your first string guy is going to get hurt. Like that's not the way to think about it. You think about upside scenarios almost only. And so the upside scenario is super fragile. If any of our 4 running backs get hurt, we're in big trouble, but we're probably in big trouble anyways if we spend so much draft cap on that position. And then they get hurt. Yep. So yeah.
Yeah, it just gives you a lot of flexibility to assume something goes right. And if that does indeed go right, you want to optimize around that with your early picks.
Yeah. And the other thing about this kind of build is that we're going to take so many wide receivers, and everybody knows, like if you looked at a range of distributions, how volatile wide receivers are. It's so much wider than running backs. And so you can take a wide receiver in round 14 that has at least 1 or 2 like difference making games. We're going to have like 10 wide receivers on this roster.
Yeah. The other thing too with running back, it's like you can take them early or you can take a lot of them late. You just don't want to do both together. Like it's too much running back capital, and it's definitely a different game than managed. I'm much less likely to build running back early. But best ball, I mean, there's no waiver wire. You mentioned the wide receiver distributions.
Yeah.
And and the beginning, even though it's a tournament at the end, to get there, like weeks 1 through 13 all count the same. So it's not like a managed league where you can do 0 RB and then you have this monster come playoff time.
All right, we're on the clock. We're on the clock here.
Oh boy. Okay. So I'm like big on Higbee if we want a tight end. Devontae Parker, like if we want to do this stack, it might be a little early.
No, I'm fine with Higbee. Has Stafford gone?
Stafford, no Gerald Everett. They really didn't add anyone at tight end. I think it's still Johnny Munt and Bryson Hopkins.
Yeah.
Like, so they just got rid of Gerald Everett, and we saw what Higbee did at the end of 2019 when Everett was out.
What are you thinking at quarterback? We need one more likely sometime, ideally, in the next couple rounds here.
Yeah, I feel like we're okay to wait a little bit. I don't see huge drop-offs. I like Matt Ryan, but we don't have anyone with him right now.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this today. Oh, are we? Yeah, we're almost on the clock. I'll give my Matt Ryan rant in a second.
Let's see if Drew snipes us again and takes Devon. No, he does. So what do you think about Devontae Parker set up the double?
Yeah, let's set up the double.
People seem really down on him, but his target share was still pretty good last year. I know Fuller and Waddle are there, but just kind of bet on the offense. But let's hear the Matt Ryan rant.
Yeah. By the way, I played Devontae Parker a bunch last year. I actually thought Devontae Parker was in play for cash a bunch last year, just in popping in the PSM and the GAM model when Ryan Fitz started. But yeah, I was thinking like, what are the Falcons doing with like kind of punting their running game completely? It's like if I had Julio and Ridley and Pitts and Gage and Mike Davis, who's a really good pass catching back, like I'd just be like, well, let's just fuck it, man. Let's just throw it every time. And so I think we could see a really high pass rate over expectation for the Falcons this year, like really, really high. I mean, the personnel just screams like, let's just throw it every time with Matt Ryan. And so yeah, I think there's definitely major upside on Matt Ryan.
Yeah, you can get Ridley or Julio in the first 5 rounds, Pitts in 6, take Ryan in 10, and then like Gage late, and you got a double or a triple. And the thing with Ryan, we've always said with DFS, I know like the pure passers aren't as strong in DFS as they used to be, but when he hits, like everybody eats, and that feeds into what you're saying. Like he's completing tons of passes. Guys are racking up catches. They're racking up yards. He's throwing for 400 yards when he hits like those weeks. So, and multiple people can hit ceilings.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that we have Trey Lance way above where he actually goes in these, right?
I'm not sure. We'll see. He went pretty late. The one I saw, he went like 12, 13 turn, which is, I mean, I think way too late. If we knew for sure he was playing this season, I think he'd be knocking on top 10. Like, I think he'd be better than Trevor Lawrence if we knew he was starting from day one from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, agreed.
So have him a little bit behind Fields and Lawrence just because I think he's got the most risk because it's a pretty good team. They still have Jimmy G there. But I don't know. These rookie QBs, they just almost always end up playing.
Let me see the wide receiver queue.
Yeah, so whenever I'm out on McCole Hardman, I was just looking at it, man. They got rid of Sammy and they added like one guy late in the draft, and that's it. And it's tough, but I think he could see the field a little bit more than last year, like just at a base level. And then if something happened to Tyreek Hill, it's a little bit of a anti-fragile bet of, well, okay, Hardman's could really pop off.
The bear case on Hardman is Sammy was hurt for most of last year, and Hardman did not do anything, didn't really see his role expanded, and suggesting that maybe they only see him as Tyreek's direct backup and nothing more, or a little more. But yeah, I mean, you can also make an incredible bull case for McCole Hardman, obviously, too, just attached to Patrick Mahomes with really very little. I mean, but they did give they brought Pringle back.
Yeah, they've got Pringle, they've got DeMarcus Robinson, so it's the same guys without Sammy. I mean, the bear case is, he just sucks. It doesn't matter, but
right.
And he's just going to have these big plays now and then because he's fast and Mahomes is there, but he can't, just cut it. But yeah, it's a tough range. These Jets receivers are probably a little bit high. Stuff's crowded there. They've got Corey Davis along with Crowder and Mims. They draft Elijah Moore, which is one of the better wide receiver prospects. How much can Zach Wilson support his rookie year? So I might knock those guys down. And then Gage is probably a little boring here. Rager, I like the bounce back talent, but they rotated their receivers a lot last year.
Yeah, and
We
Nick
don't.
Sirianni, who's rotated with Indy a lot. Also, there goes Hardman,
Yeah.
and there goes Ryan.
So Jasicki went. I was thinking we could double, but he went. So, I mean, we could grab Tua and make lock in our double here.
I don't think anyone's going to take Tua before our next pick. Do you?
I don't think so, but I don't necessarily have a receiver I love. Do you have someone you really want? There's Rondell.
No. Okay, take Tua. Panic pick.
Oh God.
Panic.
Oh God. I almost these 30 seconds.
I know it's fast. How long do these usually take? Like 45 minutes or so? Hour?
Yeah, it takes like 45 minutes, but it feels faster, especially when you're doing the stream, it goes fast. So yeah, I think we're just taking our favorite receiver.
Do you think in this build we end up with 2 quarterbacks, or do you think we need one more?
I think we're just taking 2.
Yeah.
But yep, the hyper fragile, that's kind of gives the problem is I think we might be taking 3 tight ends. I don't really like going 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks, especially with 1 premium quarterback pick. So probably 2 quarterbacks. All right, your pick at receiver. This is where the range gets tough.
Oh God. Out of those guys, I would probably say Rager.
Like Diami Brown's interesting, but you probably want a little bit more safety this early.
Yeah, no, I mean he's the number 3. I would think it'd be Rager for me.
Yeah, I'm good with Rager.
I don't think Devonta Smith is that far behind him. Did someone take Devonta Smith already?
Yeah, Devonta's gone.
Yeah.
I think we might even have Devonta ahead of Rager in our ranks, but
yeah.
All right, we're gonna go Rager. We'll make Karain proud. And then Gage goes.
If there goes KZ. Yawn KZ. If you guys are just joining us, if this is an underdog draft, $25 buy-in, $1 million to first in a big GPP, they are giving away $25 free if you make a deposit, new or existing user on Underdog. The link that you need to use is in the description, in the show notes below. If you use promo code ETR, you'll get that $25 on top of any deposit for free money. And this thing has a pretty good chance to overlay, I would say, or at least a reasonable chance to overlay also, which, getting a $3.5 million prize pool at a $25 buy-in price point is really hard, but we'll see.
Yeah. They also have slow drafts of these, which is nice. I mean, if you don't have the 45 minutes to an hour to commit, then you get a little bit more time to think about things.
Exactly. Yeah, I like those too.
Head chopper, no QB yet. Let's see what his strategy is. He's kind of got the hyper fragile build. He took Dalvin, Swift, Mike Davis. So he's going. That's interesting. He doubled up on the Patriots. I wonder if he's looking at a 3 quarterback build and taking like Mac Jones really late or something. But it's fun to see how the other teams build. KZ said, he was stacking Matt Ryan when he made the Gage pick.
I know, KZ. I'm just busting your balls. You're too sharp.
Yeah, he's going. We got the hyper fragile running back drafters. Where's KZ?
Like one thing I felt about last year's draft, which this is the first draft I've done, but that I'm kind of feeling now is like you think wide receiver is deep, and then it gets into like round 10, 11, 12. There's not that many wide receivers that I even want. I kind of felt that way last year. Also, last year I took wide receivers. I mean, every single draft I was taking wide receivers in rounds 3 through 7, just like wide receiver, and that proved to be like the absolute smash spot. Like so much DK Metcalf and Will Fuller. Et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I don't know. This kind of feels similar to me where it's kind of thin as you get back here at wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think that's where manage versus best ball is different. Like manage, do you really want to smash the rounds that you said? Because like heaven forbid you have to decide who to start of these guys that we're taking right now. Like you don't,
right.
But since we don't have to decide who to start, it's kind of like you just have to think of the structure and reluctantly pick someone you might not love, but just understand the wide receiver variance. These are guys that are going to see the field. I also think this draft seems a little bit sharper. I've clicked on like 4 teams and like almost none of them have more than 3 or 4 running backs. So the wide receivers are going earlier in this draft than I think they normally would. And this range always tough. I don't think it would be quite so tough. But yeah, it is a little tough. St. Brown's like an interesting rookie. At some point, like I'm a sucker for Crowder's targets.
Yeah, there's rumors that Crowder's going to be cut. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, the Jets have so much cap room. I don't really see much motivation for them to cut him. I would say that Elijah Moore is like really, really good player, but I think Elijah Moore could really threaten Denzel Mims. I mean, I thought Denzel Mims was #bad last year, so he could threaten him. I'll read you some wide receivers that I like here that I think they're still on the board. I like Rondale Moore. I like Paris Campbell. I think Darius Slayton later is okay. Josh Reynolds.
Yeah, these are guys near the board. Rondale went. All right, we're on the clock. So Crowder, Campbell, Slayton, Reynolds. Kind of boring guy in Lazard, but they didn't add a ton.
Yeah, I'm fine with Crowder.
Okay. Get my Jamison Crowder exposure. I can't help myself. Round 13.
You know, one thing that people think about Crowder is he's like really low upside. I mean, when he hits, he has like 10 catches in games, and so his ceiling is actually way higher than I think people think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great situation with Elijah Moore coming there. And also Adam Gaze's offense does funnel targets to the slot. And obviously Adam Gaze is gone now. So it's definitely not great, but that's why he's there in round 13.
Yeah. What do you think happens with the Giants situation with the addition of Tony? I mean, they spent a first round pick on him. They're probably going to have to justify that, get him on the field, but they're so flush in pass catchers and they don't exactly have the creative offensive coordinator or the talented quarterback to let everybody eat.
Yeah, no, I know it's a mess for sure. It's a good question. I haven't really thought through fully how the Giants are going to do this, how Jason Garrett's going to do it. It's probably not going to be very exciting.
The thing I come back to, though, is I don't think Galladay is going to hog targets like people are kind of assuming. You know, he seems a little overrated to me. I could see the target share being somewhat spread. You know, Galladay won, but like I don't know if Sterling Shepard, Ingram will be that far behind. And then it just comes down to, you know, is Slayton going to see the field consistently? You know, is Tony, like, I don't know. I just want to see what they do with Tony, but
yeah. I like Paris Campbell. What do you think about Paris Campbell?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Post type sleeper. You know, we got the age model hitting in a big way on T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
There's Michael Pittman's there, but
yeah,
at this price tag, I like Paris Campbell.
Let me see the tight ends. Where are we at on the board? Oh, okay. So
two of the guys that me and Herzig early in the offseason eyed in on quite a bit were Eric Ebron and Tyler Higbee. We've already got one of those guys. I've also noticed like Austin Hooper in the pre-draft ADP was like tight end 27, 25 or something. I just don't get it. Like he had one of the better tight end target shares last year. I know Odell got hurt and he's back, but I don't know, these top three, it would be nice, I think, if we get one of these top three tight ends. I think there's a drop off in terms of stability after these top three tight ends on our board.
Oh, big time. Yeah, the Ferk Daddy. I like the Ferk Daddy. I like Ebron. And yeah, I think you can poke holes in Hooper, but Brown's going to be very, very good this year. And tight end points correlate really well with winning football. They're so touchdown reliant. You want guys that are going to score, in position to score.
Yeah, and then PSM model, Donald Parham for the stack later.
Yeah, and Josh Palmer also you can get on the queue for the one of our last pick, I guess, unless somebody listening to this takes him. These are 18-round drafts, right? There's some other best ball leagues out there that are even deeper, way deeper. Like some of the DraftKings ones I did last year were like ridiculously deep, but I think 18 is good.
20 rounds. I like the roster construction strategy better in the 18 too. I think it like forces you to make some decisions, whereas adding those two extra spots might not seem like a lot because these guys aren't great at the back end, but it makes a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
So Eric asked, I thought QBT stack was low EV. So I did a stacking article. Sometimes you got to add context to the pure data. Data-wise, stacks for tight end did not work out last year. but a lot of that was due to the tight ends that had really good years. I want to pull it up. I think the goal at tight end, if you can, is to get a tight end that you rely on regardless of the stack, and you're using his score every week. And it's more important to like find a high upside tight end than it is to stack. Oh man, we're 4 picks away. So I'll get back to this rant in a second. Okay, so this is where, yeah, I think I'd take Hooper if he was there. I don't know if I would take Komet. I'm not so sure on that one.
Yeah, I don't like Komet.
And at that point, then it just back to like Slade and Josh Reynolds, you had mentioned, they're on the board. Boom, 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 boom.
This is our D-Hendo.
All right, Casey's got an elite tight end, so he shouldn't be sniping us here. I'm giving Casey the pre-guilt trip if he snipes us. All right, he takes Slade, whatever. All right, we're gonna take Austin Hooper.
Yep.
So we're pretty safe at tight end without investing a lot. Like we got 2 safe-ish guys, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the tight end thing, these guys that did well last year, the teams that won were like Darren Waller, who you weren't really stacking with Carr, Kelsey, who's like tough to stack with Mahomes because it's so expensive. Tunyon really wasn't stacked because he was a throw-in. You know, the Stafford Hawkinson stacks didn't work that great. Logan Thomas breaks out with like no quarterback. Jasicki teams did well, and you couldn't really stack Fitz or Tua. So I think there was some randomness to it. I think if you're taking a tight end late, it makes sense to correlate it with your quarterback, like a real late tight end. For sure, it makes sense to. But like I'm more concerned about stacking receivers than I am tight ends. I'm more concerned about getting tight ends I think have strong individual upside, but we kind of did that with Higbee, and I'd correlate the second one. We're not even correlating it, but Adam is saying that there is like strong correlation at the tight end position. And if you look at my general stacking article from last offseason, it did have tight ends as pretty highly correlated with the quarterback. Part of it's just the nature of best ball. Like how much does it matter in best ball if a guy just catches a correlated touchdown? You know, you need to kind of be elite at every position, so it changes the math a little.
Yeah.
All right, we got it. Who's your favorite receiver? We got sniped there. I know some people are on Brian Edwards, like post-hype sleeper. Anthony Miller with the new quarterback. Traquan's there. Like they did not add anyone.
Yeah.
You got a favorite?
Yeah, Traquan would be my favorite. I mean, he's our highest ranked, and they had like 7 or 8 draft picks, and they only took 1 wide receiver late. I like that. And Jameis gets in there. I mean, full-blown YOLO ball.
But yeah, so and then Eric points out, I love my Cincy and Arizona stacks with no tight end. I think it's a waste of a pick to take guys like
Uzoma,
Max Williams and Daryl Daniels, CJ Uzama. Like, it's not happening. Like, those guys don't have the upside to win your best ball. Like, I think that's where the stacking comes into play. Like, random 3rd or 4th receivers stacked can hit long touchdowns and be in play, but yeah, it's really not happening with those nothings. Like, and that's a big reason why the stacking doesn't bear out, along with the fact that the elite tight ends sort of dominate.
Yeah. Willis is asking a question, why Palmer instead of Guyton or Johnson? Yeah, I think it's going to be a camp battle between Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson and Josh Palmer. If you listen to the podcast with Mike Renner, I mean, he identified Josh Palmer as one of his favorite sleepers to go in the draft. And so I don't know. I think that they used more draft capital on Palmer, I believe, than they did on Guyton or Johnson. And so I think I would give him the edge. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's really early. We don't know who's going to win number 3 job. But to me, I would consider Palmer the favorite right now. If you think Guyton or Johnson's going to win, I wouldn't like blame you at all.
Yeah, it sounds like Palmer really has the downfield ability, and that he just played with an absolutely horrendous quarterback in college. I just kind of I mean, it's not like Guyton was a good deep threat last year. That was it. And generally, unless it's really carved out depth chart, I'm just siding with the rookie early on.
So we have 2 picks left. I assume we want to go both wide receiver.
Yeah, or we probably don't need Parham. I mean, like Parham would just be Parham's a little bit The thing with Parham is he does have legitimate upside, right? Like it's not like he doesn't have the roll out of the gate, but if Cook got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it would be one of the last pick would be one of Parham or Palmer. I wouldn't want to take both.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
I think we're better off with the receiver, but we can kind of queue both up. Other receivers, I know there is no circumstance in which you would take this name here, AJ Green. Am I correct, Adam?
I mean, it's the 17th round. I'm not gonna. It's like when people shit on like $2,500 tight ends who are playing every snap on DraftKings. Like I'm not gonna kill anybody for that.
Ooh, I got the guy. I'm holding off on our guy. I don't want any.
Let me look at what I got going on here.
I know who it is. I'm not. I don't want these fools to snipe our guy.
Did Eskridge go?
Adam, come on, man. That's what are you doing?
Dude, we're on the same wavelength here.
I know we are, but we got Casey lurking.
Does Cordero Patterson have wide receiver eligibility on Underdog? I assume so. Yeah, he's gonna play a decent amount of running back, I think.
It's weird though. Like I'd almost rather it the other way though.
Yeah, for sure.
Casey says he won't do it. We just have to survive. Dogs gotta eat. Ooh, Casey with Gainwell in 17 is a really good pick.
Yeah.
For like if you need an upside running back.
Yeah.
Okay, so Eskridge I think is definitely our guy. Like he seems like perfect for late round best ball. And like Palmer, Eskridge seems like a really, I don't know if it's like his yards per reception I just saw was nutty in college. I know he wasn't in one of the best conferences, but
right.
Okay, so I think and one of the things Justin Herzig has talked about in terms of getting unique, like people try to get unique early, which is just stupid because you end up sacrificing value. And like we have drafts in May, we have drafts in August and September. Like don't do dumb things early to get like unique combinations. You don't know what's going to happen. Oh, we want Palmer, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you think wide receiver is better, then
let's see. We got Keenan, CD, Fuller, Parker, Rager. I don't know, Palmer, or maybe we should just go on brand with Parham. I don't think it's a huge.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you're asking me, I prefer Parham.
Okay, let's go on brand. I think our receivers are strong enough that 9's fine. But yeah, to bring it back, like people do weird combinations early, and like generally someone has that combination at a better cost than you. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Where you can actually get unique is take guys that aren't taken in every draft. Like that's the only true way to do it. And like Josh Palmer, Donald Parham, there'll be lots of drafts. Those guys are just undrafted.
Right. Exactly. Make sure you bookmark this draft because when we win the million, I don't want you to say that it was on your account and therefore, actually, I'm going to send you $12.50 right now so that I can confirm that I have half of this winning
legal.
Team. Yeah, no, this was fun. We'll do a bunch more of these as the season goes along and we start to get our feet wetter and wetter. This was actually the first draft I have done whatsoever. I like our team a lot. Again, Underdog $25 buy-in, 1 million to first. Use the link in the code in the description below. You'll get $25 free if you make a deposit, even if you already have an Underdog account. They're just giving money away. Hashtag how rich. They're just showering everybody with the money. Also, more importantly, on the site, Leone has been going over it all weekend. No sex this weekend for Leone. He has been working on the projections, and we are all up to date through everything that's happened in the draft. Top 300 for every format, including this Underdog format. Draft kit is open. If you had the draft kit last year, you didn't cancel your subscription, you have access until May 10th when you will be renewed, $34.99. And then, of course, we will have rankings for every single format, continuously updating with all the news, all the takes. Silva's 150 for Silva's first top 150 of the season will be out May 10th as well. All right. Any final words for the people, Leone?
It's gonna be a fun season. It's gonna be a long best ball season. So
It's
just
it's going to be a long basketball season. It's May 2nd. We have a long way to go.
we got a long way, but we'll be constantly updating. So just make sure to tune in, join some slow drafts. I'll probably spread out my drafts, over the off season, just as ADPs change, try and get like different mixes of guys and whatnot. So I think that makes sense. If you're planning on doing like, 10 of these drafts, do like 2 a month or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I prefer to do the slow drafts also when I'm like still getting my feet wet and I don't feel as confident in like my strategy and my structure and players I want yet. You have a lot more time to think on the slow drafts. Obviously, we had a couple panic picks in here that maybe weren't the best. All right. Thanks to everybody for tuning in on our YouTube. For Leone, for producer Leone, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.